important. What king going to make war against another king sits not down first and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an ambassage and desireth conditions of peace, because he has counted the cost. I got 10,000 soldiers, he's got 20,000 soldiers. So because of that difference in number of fighters, I would rather just send somebody over there and say, look, we can talk about this. Is that a good idea? Yes, I've got soldiers, but they're only 10,000. The other gentleman has got 20,000. So I'm going to use my brain that I am outnumbered 2-1. So because I'm weaker, I'm not just going to say I'm going to fight because I'm a man of God. I'm going to talk to the other guy to see whether we can find some middle ground. Compromise? I don't know. I call it common sense. You can call it whatever you want. Anachimba, wenso. I don't care what you call it. I call it common sense. And God expects us to use common sense. Somebody shout amen. This is going to be good this morning. It's going to be really good. And if you are not going to join me, rejoice. I'll do it all by myself. Or else, while the other one is a great distance off, you send an ambassador over there to find a way of peace. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he has, he cannot be my disciple. I want to speak to you on our mandate or our theme as Victory Ministries. Of course, in Zambia shall be saved, but the whole idea that this ministry was established was to build a new nation. Get Zambia, shake it around, and change it and rebuild a nation. And say Zambia is saved. Because it cannot be saved until you restructure it. Our mission is not just to preach in little places and go to sleep and collect an offering and buy a bicycle. That's not really what Victory Ministry is all about. Victory Ministries has a mandate from God. The mandate, the first one, is to ensure that Zambia is totally transformed and bows its knee to the Lord Jesus Christ. That's really what it is. I know what you're going to say, but that's what everybody's called to do. No. You're going to find out. That's not what every pastor or every church is doing in this country. Some of them don't even, sorry for using the word that we used to use at Eucharist, some of them don't even give a hoot about Zambia getting saved. Or as long as they have a church where they can preach powerful messages, people can tell them that was a good word, it's good for them. Somebody comes and gives them a suit, Pastor, you've been amazing. That to them is everything. Somebody presents to them a car on their birthday and say, Pastor, you're amazing. That's to them, they are reaching their maximum potential of their ministry. So don't shut me down because I know what I'm talking about. What satisfies certain pastors is scary. Some pastors are satisfied with a vehicle and they believe that really this is why God called me, that he will prosper me and bless me beyond the wildest imagination of my enemies. No, God can do more than that. God can give you more than a vehicle. And for victory, we are not praying for a vehicle. We don't pray for vehicles. We pray for nations. So if you are a vehicle believer, you got a long way to go to come up to the size of Victory Ministries. You got to move beyond your shoes and move beyond your bicycles and your cars and your big mansions and get the nations. Because the houses, the shoes, the mansions are all in Zambia. Once you get it, you get everything that is there, including the copper that is there, including the diamond that's there. If you get the nation which God has given to you, then use those resources to push the agenda of God. You have brought glory to his name. Can I teach this morning? So, I want you to understand the theme of my teaching today is building a new nation. That's what we are. So don't do anything and go to another direction. Pastors, all of you my pastors, you are not there to just have a church that gives you an offering. We got a nation to save, Pastor Luo. But we have problems individually. I have problems. You have problems. But those problems should not stand in the way of our mandate. Our mandate is Zambia shall be saved. Whatever it takes, we gotta get this thing back to the cross. We gotta get the culture of Zambia restructured if there's anything like that. I want you to understand this in a basic manner. That's why I'm teaching it like I'm teaching Sunday school. You are not Sunday school, but I don't want you to miss it. Whenever God will call me home, I don't want to leave any doubt in your minds as to why I existed, why victory existed, and why we exist. I don't want to confuse you when you're speaking and giving a eulogy over my departure when I'm dead. I want you to be very clear that never stood on this. I don't just, never anyway, because you may go on a tangent and say, you know, I never spent with Mumba, I have politics. Now, it's because you don't understand the mandate. That's why you isolate politics like it's a special thing. No, it's part of Zambia. It's part of changing the culture of this country. Now, because you don't know the mandate, that's why when I do something that you don't understand, you criticize it, because you don't know the mandate. If you know the mandate, you know that you need to, if you are building a house, the mandate will be to find bricks. So you go to people with kilns that make bricks. Tomorrow they'll find you amongst 3 people who do, wood. They should not say, no, I need the wood to do the roof of this house. I need politics to line up with this house that I'm building. I don't want politics to be a rebel from the project of healing the nation. Because you can have everything together, but there's a rebel out there who is not reconciled. And how do you reconcile? Go there and get the politics. Let it line up with the word of God. Get the churches to line up with the word of God. Get traditional leaders to line up with the word of God. Get the commerce to line up with the word of God. Get it all together to build a new nation. So you criticize things because you don't understand the mandate. And this is really what I want to talk about today. Don't mistake. This is one of the very few ministries in this country that is clear about why we are here. We are very clear. When you go to certain churches, you just go to worship God. How was it to Mupashiwa Chenda? Meaning what? Going where? Now when the son ule mutwala kui. And we had those moments. I cannot criticize you. Is that brother here? You remember those days? We had those moments. Those moments, because the Spirit took over. I don't have a problem with that, but after the Spirit has taken over, you gotta keep marching in the direction that the mandate institutes for you. It's about the mandate. What are you here for? And so, let me not go ahead of myself. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that Africans in general, and Zambians in particular, are known to be bad planners. It's just part of our problem. life happens to us when we are supposed to happen to life. Sure. You know, I've never said that before. I'm going to say all that line. An African allows life to happen to them. That's why when you greet them, Mulishana, Shilea Kui. Shilea, you can't allow Inshiku to go. You need them to plan to change the nation. Shilea Kui, you gotta be in charge of each day because it won't come back. Shilea. What do you mean? Shilea. Days don't come back. Before you go to war, sit down and consider. If somebody's got 20,000, you got 10, start to think about peace. Because all of a sudden, you understand what you want to achieve. And that is why I want you to know that the Europeans and the Western people laugh at us. Because an African has no plan. Ndabuka, alelo lelo obushukubuli amulefe bwalaye ndaba alamuletela kwefi abalaswa mwekweli ashiri suva bana mpundu pale abushefi ntifirisha. You have no plan to face the day. When you become rich, some of you become rich by accident. That's why you cannot look after your riches. Because they hit you by chance. That's why a rich African is a mess most of the time. They can't manage it. They didn't plan for it. It just happened. Somebody so you become a millionaire while your friend is serving his term. How do you look after that money? You didn't plan for it. This is what I want Victory to run away from. I don't want this ministry to be a ministry of chance. This should never be. Even when I'm gone, Ebotosi, even when I'm gone, Cyrus, don't make this a ministry of chance. This is a purposeful ministry. We know what we want. Because we know what we want, we are ready to pay the price attached to what we want. The reason you can pay a high price is because you accept that in order for me to achieve this, whatever challenge I face is part of building a new nation. Victory, hear me. If you doubt why you exist, please think again. Come back to this tape. Buy this tape. Listen to it over and over again. We should never allow life to happen to us. We should happen to life. Look at me. Most of the things that happen to you, if we were to look at them, they are by chance. By chance, you did not plan. Because they noticed no planning. No wonder we have problems in marriage, because you did not plan to get married. Before long now, 16, oops, yeah, no planning. I'll have 2, 3, 4, Kashwandi, only 2. Why? Because university costs are this way, and I want to invest my grandfather's riches into these young people. I've only got 3 houses, family houses. I can't have more than that of children because I want each child to have a house when they plan. We don't. To fialaf. Life without a plan is dangerous. Victory, we are not that type of ministry. We are not that type of ministry. Plan. I used to preach a message many years ago that people who don't plan actually plan to fail. If you don't plan, you have actually planned to fail. You gotta plan. And you know, one time I interrogated Brother Siame, when we were growing up at Maranatha, there was a feeling at some point that we really didn't need brains, I was asking myself, why did God give us? Because we are led by the Spirit. I mean, we were not as spiritual as you guys are today. We were like spooks. We were really spiritual. Sometimes we doubted the relevance of brain because God was taking charge of everything. But the reason why God gave us brains is for this purpose I'm teaching. To sit down and consider. Everybody say consider. Say consider. The word consider means plan. Think about what you want to do. You cannot become what God intends for you to become if you don't plan. If you do become something by accident, you will never appreciate it, and it could destroy you. It may come. I'm not saying you may not hit gold one day. You may hit gold, but that gold will bury you. But if you say by next year, December, this is going to be the new Never's Mumba, you start to purposefully work. This is from the Holy Spirit. It's better a plan fails than you failing. Did you hear that? I just got it a few minutes ago. I'm also still going over it. It's better a plan fails than you failing to plan. But a lot of times we fail because we have no plan. But I would rather make a plan and the plan fails because I'm going to make another plan. Because I'll learn from the failed plan how to make the next plan succeed. Am I teaching someone this morning? I'm talking about the mandate of Victory Ministries, which we have shared with the world. We have shared it with Zambia. Of course, you've got individual callings from God, but as a corporate body, God has called us to transform this nation. And I can assure you it's happening. Now, so let's accept our weakness. Our weakness is that Africans don't like to plan. In fact, when you hang out with the Western people or Europeans, or let me even draw it down to white people, they are irritatingly particular about detail. We don't care. A sustainable life for him and for his children and for his grandchildren. Because you don't plan. Sounds more like the story of those with oil going to a marriage feast. You remember the story in the Word of God? Those who started to borrow oil from their friends because now the bride has come, bridegroom has come. Can you give us some? Say, no, you go buy your own. I'm saying to you, I'm saying to you that don't just think of your stomach today. Africa is the only continent that does not think of its future generations. If you and we call ourselves spiritual. I'm learning as well. I've made many mistakes because I thought that we needed to spend everything. No. White people, the reason they are rich, it's generational wealth. They are not rich because by how can they be poor? Amaskulu yabo yonse bali plan kale atubushkulu aninga afyalwa trust yakwe ni tabamwishwa whether mwana na mwana kashi akafyalwa shani bakopa bali vikaka. How can they suffer? They can't. We gotta think beyond ourselves. I'm talking about planning. Your problems are not a lack of money, it's a lack of planning. Even when you have got two kwacha waikala na balume because you're always fighting because you don't want to plan. You know why we fight? We fight because we don't want to plan. Bank savings. Now it's from planning is the #1 opportunity to change your life. And you can start to plan this evening. You're not late. You can start to plan this evening. Now I am to plan limo kuti wa ikaloko abuloku yogwani. And it will not bother you. Why? Because you have planned that unomweshi nakula afya vegetables. Not because I want good health. I just don't want to spend money on wali na mane nkoko. I want to invest it in this. You cannot have everything and plan and say, don't go into town with your car. Save on your gas so that you can use that resource on something else. Resource is limited. Africans, we have more faith than white people, it's true. That's why if we can, the Lord will provide. And He does provide because He knows our foolishness. He continues to provide. Only a God can do what He does to us. You know, you've ever had any foolish children? But we sort of, but you are not doing the right thing. But what can He do? That's what happens. Africa and God, the relationship between Africa and God is not fair. God knows that our guys have got a problem with Vatemokuria now. I don't want you to laugh. This is serious. I don't want you to laugh away my sermon today. So, Victory Ministries, when I came back from Bible school in 1984, we started this ministry and began to go around the country to preach. But the situation at that time in ministries was there were no systems and order. There were anointed ministers. That I can tell you. Anointed preachers. But there were no systems. In other words, if a pastor is pastoring in Chimwemwe there or beyond Chimwemwe, that's that little compound there beyond Chimwemwe. Not Kawama. Kamatipa. And you are preaching there in Kamatipa. After the offering, the ushers collect the money, they give it to Amai Busa. She takes home. Yadibale akunganda bashita kono bunga munshila. No muchele, pagani pasande na lesana na pala. Na momoba emobalila ni bashima people. And there's nothing wrong. The Bible says, do not overuse muzzle the ox. So she can even quote that scripture as she spends the offering. That's the way it was. When I came back from America, I decided to do a few things in the ministry. We decided to start an entire account section. Now those things were not common. We started an entire account section, meaning that if you give to Victory, not only did we get your money, but we recorded it because you wrote on an envelope, and we recorded it in our books. After 6 months, our account section went through your money and sent you a slip of how much money you have given to church in 6 months. It never used to happen before. Not only did we do it in Victory, but we extended it now to the nation and started what we were calling Victory Harvest Partners. In other words, whether they were Catholics, whether they were Seventh-day Adventists, or they were the Watchtowers, but they were our partners. Whenever they sent 15 words to Victory, we recorded it, gave them a receipt, and wrote a letter to them to thank them. That's how come Victory grew. Victory, don't be mistaken, did not only grow because you think Nevers was anointed. There were better preachers than Nevers Mumba. When I came from it, there were better preachers than Nevers Mumba. So what made victory different? We began to have systems of credibility. Systems that people can feel to respect, that if they give to victory, their money will be accounted for. That's why people give millions to white people when they die, because they know they'll use it properly. To us, they don't give us, because they know. I give him Pelecho Lakabwe, Ishindalama, $2 million. First of all, hala pena. Second of all, hala upanabambia wanakashiba tatu. Third of all, hala tumenkarata ukujapanu ukustama motoka 6. Ama values Yesu. Tayalo lamu. Really tayalo lamu, but we are still here. By God's grace. But not victory. I have come back to tell you, to remind you, I don't want a disorganized ministry. The people that look richer than you are not richer. They are just organized. They actually have less money than you do, but they are organized. Tell yourself, sometimes you may even be good, have money, but you restrain yourself from certain expenditure in order to achieve something else. Deny yourself in order to become something. I don't know. I'm trying to help somebody here. Now you're looking like I'm starting a fight, but I'm explaining our mandate, what Victory Ministries is. So we started to do that. Not only did we introduce accounts, we introduced schedules. Okay, schedules. For instance, I knew in January, end of January, I knew where I was going to be on the 17th of December that year. Because Victory Ministries had a planning team. We scheduled the year with crusades, international trips, crusades in the country, conferences, television recordings. We had to apportion time to all these things that we thought were going to help us build a new nation. So, if you came to me, when I came back from Bible college 2-3 years later, and said, Dr. Mumba, I want you to come and preach in our ministry. The church has grown. We've got 13,000 people. Come and preach on the 10th. I call my office and say, I'm being invited for the 10th. Is it possible? Then Sue McDermott, who was my secretary, an American lady, she would say, no, Dr. Mumba, you can't accept that. You are in California at that time. Or you are in Tumbachushi on that day. We had it all on paper. You might say, "Vale, you focus on church, and I planned. So I'm not saying I don't like you. I have a plan. I have to walk my plan. Because it may be a wasted event. You are happy, but it's contributing nothing to my journey. Now that doesn't sound spiritual, but I sense the Holy Ghost right now. At this point, I sense the Holy Ghost. It's not every opportunity that has something to do with your destiny. It's not every invitation. It doesn't matter how beautiful it is. They may be calling you in New York to meet Donald Trump. But if you have got an assignment with God on that day, write to them and say, on that day, it's not possible. Because you can greet Trump all you want, but you shall not become what you're supposed to become. I know I'm being hard on you, church, but I have to tell you, some of you have wasted too much time. You are everywhere but nowhere. Plan. How do you go to a battle with 10,000 soldiers when your friend has got 20,000? And you say, Malamulanga, God will fight for us. I've got 20,000. You work with the 10. Your pantuless never fails. Come on, we now go for hello. Kabaruishe. That's the only time we get let's change our 1 o'clock. That's what happened in the Word of God. They went to inquire of the Lord. Lord, should I pursue, David said, or should I not pursue? So we had schedules, departments, because we are building a house. We had churches. We had a church department led by elders here at Victory Bible Church, but we also had a college staff, an academic dean, the teachers, the lecturers who were teaching at Victory Institute of Biblical Studies. They were a whole different team. It's a department. They got to run on their own and submit to the leader of that department. Those things, the reason I'm talking about, they were not there before. I'm trying to let you know that, because preaching in Africa was, as long as you are anointed, but I've come to discover that some of the greatest preachers in Africa have left no legacy. They're not even remembered. They have created no framework within which to work, where they can say, "Mwanawandi in a number na expire konkanya for what?" And I want you to, moving forward, the reason I'm saying what I'm saying is that these young preachers that you're calling your pastors, they are following after our footsteps, but they gotta know where I stepped and say, okay, Pastor Mumba you preach in a place where it's adding to your value and to your journey. And you should learn to say, I can't come. Nakuma winga ya mumuleve wa fyatawe nshaise. Ao naram tupeoka 50 kwa chapati nshaise. Because on that day, I'm doing something that is in line. I planned it a long time ago. I told my family, we had a meeting and they were talking about deaths and burials. I said, okay, ever to chite, umuntu ngafwa, tule salapa kufuila, so that you don't die when I have planned something. Of course, we were laughing, but I was making a point that I'm not going to come if you die on a specific day, which is really going to decide destiny for my mandate for Zambia. I won't come to the funeral. And of course, there's a permissive way that I'm going to attend. Because some of you from Chililo to Chililo, you think that's going somewhere and going to become... No, it will have fiance and become a flop. You're in Mutima plan. Now listen, death is with us. You know, I come from a great family. One of my older brothers is a great counselor to me. Because of what I go through, and politically, and jail, and all these things that I go through, people die in my family. And I'll tell them, I'm coming. My brother will call back and say, don't come. I said, why? He said, you've got things to do. I said, but Nachidecha last month in Shalikwata, but you are busy. Do what you're doing. No, but this, some of our traditions are straight from hell. They are destructive, retrogressive. Listen. Let's make a deal. Now we can set a chance. Just fair. 50-50, so that you don't criticize me. If I don't come, just don't come to my funeral. Okay, good deal. But there are certain things you can't attend because you must attend to a plan. Because God gave you a mandate. Once you mix that opportunity, the dead man will not give it back to you. But if you can keep that opportunity, the dead man's children can benefit from you keeping your mandate. planning. Mutwile, Mwautwa. Planning makes the difference. It's planning that makes you say, I'll take that appointment. No, I will not take that appointment. I'll send my associate or my wife who will come. You know what makes you make those decisions? It's planning. Number pa apa. Kama fyo ushifuile. Eba number one. Yangu tatama. Epo njishibilo cha abataba. Now don't, listen. Of course, when I preach, there's a balance to it. I'm not saying you don't go to mourn with those that mourn. The Bible says you should. But you know, amongst them, they have a time. They go to the funeral house. Away from the house, funeral house doesn't mean funeral house means kumochari nomba bayipanga yaba ni home for the day kuyako ine epapanga appointment. Can we meet at 8 o'clock over that? Kaini shiraba fawawish nishibali kunchitobale bomba during the day 8 o'clock baya kumana kwa nebale na wine. Dad will miss you. Nishibawisho muchitum. You were a great dad. Bali lako befendo tambala bali lako wafu mori chelo baya kunchito. Not you. If you go, takulina kusamba, imishishi ukununka, parapeneke nenchito tai. Musona beshwa tata nafwa. Tata is gone. What about you? Your future, your destiny, the destiny of your children. Mourn smart. If you have got a plan, you mourn smart. And I know I am crossing you guys because this is anti-African thinking. Because we don't plan. But I'm telling you the truth. Put him fire, shakunuma. Elo number 2, tatuleka kufwa. Kufwa afye pe. So if you are not careful, wakula losha afye pe. But you could osha to alosha wafika ko wayaba posha washako na kamo. Wayamkuomba. So that you have money to contribute to the next funeral. Let's move on. Let's grow up as Africa. Let's become productive. Plan. Ever say plan? Can she never know? Is 2 fundamental principles of Victory Ministries. Number 1, the first fundamental ministry of Victory Ministries is clarity of vision. Clarity of vision. You know, our mandate, as I've said, is to change the name of Zambia. What do I mean? To recreate Zambia, move it away from being a pagan nation, a nation without God, a nation under great darkness, and start to change it. So when I say clarity of vision, if you do not see what you are supposed to be doing, then those who follow you will find it even harder to understand your leadership. The first thing, the Bible says, write your vision down. Make it clear that he who reads it may run with it. What the Bible is pleading with you is that clarify why you exist. What do you want to achieve, Bishop Toboro, in the next 10 years? Make it plain. So that people, when they want to do something, but you know, Because he's building something, they have seen it, they respect it, and they cannot use him anyhow because a man no banga wait for wite ulia pantu baisata wako atamano na ngukumo amano yabafe everywhere. You can go anywhere like the wind.
Next.
Mwana mailo nkagu kwa mwanza bombo ndefa tukaye bonsa widi ninchita buka na matika na wani kushitila. That is an insult to your integrity and ability to plan. You want to tell me what to do when all you know is limited to what you have seen, read, and heard. But the Bible says, I'll show you great and mighty things that thou knowest not. Could it be true that there are certain things you don't know? If you are too comfortable with your circumstances, you are just so familiar with where you are, you are afraid to take a new leap, you sink like fools in the same ship.